Hi, everyone. I'm Kim Shively. I am an assistant professor of acting at Elon University in North Carolina.
And I'm Jim Elliot. I'm an adjunct professor of classics at the Actor Studio Drama School at Pace University in New York City.
And this is virtual scene work and rehearsing on designing instruction for virtual acting studios.
We started this as a group of people who got together in a Zoom conference, and we all are teaching acting in various formats this spring. And we wanted to create a presentation outline and an outline to explore how to approach teaching in this virtual acting studio, because it comes with pluses and minuses. We all teach around the country in diverse environments, and we compiled all these different resources that we have experienced and gathered from our colleagues to create a working template for you, our colleagues, who are facing similar challenges, and some tips and tricks and some ideas and do's and don'ts.
So we wanted to start with thinking about the proven methodologies, the things that we found from the spring that worked well. Self-taping for accountability, self-taping a portion of exercises, assigned monologues and scene work. And we also found that both written and voice file feedback were very appreciated and utilized by students. At Elon, we have teaching assistants, which we call teaching and learning apprentices, who are upperclassmen who have taken the courses and are able to work with the current students on initial rehearsals and helping process feedback, which helped create more of a sense of ensemble and was really positive. We also found that when you focus on student learning outcomes while shaping the semester and taking what you usually would use to meet those outcomes and altering them and adapting them, that was also a really positive way to think about shaping the projects for the semester. Weekly peer partnerships for partnering on classwork and weekly journal responses were helpful. And Jim and I both discovered that a forum at the end of each week where a student can post a video of their work and classmates can watch the video and write critiques was really an effective way for the students to feel like they were still in the class and still involved with one another.
Yeah, yeah. But it did not come without challenges, as I'm sure you know. The first one that had to get knocked out of the park was the idea of voice production and energy. We couldn't really deal with that, and so our focus became more about clarity and expression of voice. But with that, you need a good microphone, and you need to make sure that the student had that. You are at the mercy of the Wi-Fi connection your student has for live interactions. So there's lag time, there's outages, there's inconsistencies, and not to mention the device that they're using is matters. Um, because of the Wi-Fi connection, pacing and rhythm of the scene goes out the window. It's really hard to monitor that. Virtual warm-ups are doable, but they're hard to monitor all at once, and you don't have that one-to-one interaction with the student. All right, another thing we discovered is that the students bring the space to us. So in our usual setup in a theater, we give them the black box, or we give them the theater, or we give them a classroom that they're working in. But in this case, they're bringing the space to us, and we have to adapt to them. And in scene work, sometimes it's two very different spaces, but we need to spend time to figure out how to use that space to the best advantage for the student. And Kim, something about attention spans?
We've spent a lot of time about attention spans because we know that our own attention spans tend to wane when we're online, but our student attention spans definitely experience challenges. And so we found that the ideal meeting time for the instructor and students in rehearsal is 30 minutes. 20-minute rehearsals can work well as long as all of the other technical considerations that we're going to talk about in just a minute are taken care of. But 45 minutes is max, and Jim shared with me some great insight into the research that's been done on why the Zoom meeting is limited to 40 minutes. So there's scientific evidence behind it, but 30 minutes is the sweet spot for those rehearsals. When you do have technical considerations, something Jim illuminated for me is the idea of pre-production, that we are building in time to prepare students to work online. Jim, do you want to talk about that a little more?
Sure. So this online environment obviously involves a camera, so it's somewhere between theatrical work and film work. And so we got to bring some of the ideas of film into this. And one of the things that I found really effective was a pre-production meeting with the students before any acting goes on. and so that you can go through some of the things that they need to keep in mind in this environment. So that starts with a small group meeting or one-on-one coaching with the students as you're looking at the space that they're bringing, and you're adjusting to it. You need to become aware of the needs of the camera. Eye line becomes really important. The idea of lighting, there's no backlight, so that you can see the student. The camera lens placement is important, right there to here, not too low, not too high. And then pinning your partner has become something that we've talked a lot about. And Kimmy, would you want to talk about that?
Yeah, teaching your students to use, whether you're on Zoom, WebEx, Microsoft Teams, teaching your students to use the pinning feature on those, utilizing the grid view or dominant speaker. We can't take for granted that our students know how to use those things. And that's a way that the students are able to only see their scene partner when they are talking during synchronous learning. And pinning tends to be an effective manner, but again, you have to make sure that your camera's in the right position. The additional technical considerations are that students can play with the camera on the computer, playing directly to the camera, but they can also, if you're working on listening and responding, those moment-to-moment reactions, you can have the student look at an object just off camera and focus on listening and hearing their partner for that impulse. Loom is also something that you can have. Jim, if you can talk about Loom.
Loom, yeah, it's just an application that you can actually, your face and the video can appear at the same time. So you can actually critique the student's work on a self-tape in real time as the student's watching you, and it's very effective.
There's also overlapping dialogue that can be dealt with when you sign on, and you just need to simply disable something. So teaching your students how to go into the audio setting, hit advanced, and then hitting that suppressed persistent background noise. By disabling that, they're able to have a conversation like Jim and I are having, where you can talk over each other a little bit, but continue to hear what the other is doing. We made some happy discoveries, and those include things like playback and critique. Submitting self-tapes and playing back during critique is an advantage. Utilizing YouTube and unpublished channels on YouTube in forums to post projects is really quick and easy, and takes out the lag of having to upload individual student projects. And rehearsing and recording them and submitting the rehearsal for critique, again, can get over if somebody has limited Wi-Fi.
Yeah. Some tips and tricks we discovered, things to do online that help create the idea of a scene. One is you do a new angle or new position or a new frame for every beat in the scene. And so you have to coach your actors to do that. You can allow the camera to help with storytelling. So you utilize a close-up for intimate moments, and then you full body for broader context, which is a really terrific thing. And then a fun thing for the students is just a little trick is you can pass the parcel. Kim, would you like some coffee?
I would love some coffee, Jim. Thank you.
There you
Oh, thank you so much.
go. And then I think you do have to ask yourself and your department whether you want to start engaging in editing any of these videos, because it is a filmic thing, and editing matters and is a big part of film, and it really makes the process look good.
Yes. Finally, helping students create productive rehearsals is the thing that we agree is of critical importance. This is a critical point. As much time in class needs to be spent getting students up to speed. They should be able to log on with the camera in position, ready to go, practicing with props, environment, costume by themselves. Working on this becomes more like working on film, and actually is helping prepare them for part of their career, because actors are largely left to their own devices when we're dealing with film media. With the medium of film. So creating expectations for work submitted online, taking the guesswork out of how to rehearse by providing clear guidelines, which platforms work best, how to set up the camera on their phone, tablet, or laptop, and where to upload videos is really important. And finally, giving a progression of how to rehearse scenes, monologues, as well as clear rubrics for the grades were just essential. This is an example that I used that will just show you again, like the first time, second time, third time, and fourth time, giving very clear information to the students of what your expectations are, as well as what questions you want them to think about as they're writing responses.
And then this is a your classic private moment. but I've spelled it out pretty clearly as to what they should think about and how they should approach it. And this is a self-tape situation that they would then submit and we could critique. Oh, and then yeah, there's a couple of do's and don'ts. Ways to think about the private moment. And then there is no right or wrong, good or bad. There's just commitment, openness, and preparation.
So my email is kshively@elon.edu.
And my email is jelliot, 2 L's and 2 T's, then follow the number 2, so jelliot2@pace.edu.
We're excited to collaborate with you, and thank you so much for spending this time with us today.
Thank you.